Get out the insurance cards, get out the co-pays. The office is open, my friends.
Yo, everybody,
Brought to you by drroto.com.
So let's get to it. Bring the bang!
What's up, everybody? It's Heat Override, and I'm ready to bring the pain for you and Dr. Roto this week. Ooh, yeah. What a crazy weekend we've had, man. There's been a lot of things happening, but there's been nothing happening to a lot of people. This is the NFL off season, but you know how we do it on the Hard Hits Review. You know, like we like to talk about the UFC, the Winter Olympics, which are wrapping up right now, watching all the ceremonial stuff today. Go USA, both the men's and women's cashed in amongst other athletes for the United States to win. Of course, we had a record set this year. My guy, the guy I've been talking about and screaming from the top of the mountaintop, maybe not over there, but here in UPA, I've been saying it as loud as I can. Johannes Karabo, 6 gold medals. And what was crazy is I was talking about this with Dr. Roto on the radio the other day. The fact that, no other service like myself, like a DFS service, daily fantasy service, was actually out there talking about the Olympics the way I was. And I had started back in middle of January. That's when I started doing my things. That's when you check the world championships, you see who's scoring, who's the favorites coming into it. But here's the thing. That's where you find the discrepancy, and that's where you can take advantage of the sport books. That's what I was able to do with Claybo. So, of course, in the 10K free start, right? He was a plus 500 when I was getting all these bets. 2 days prior or a day prior to the event, he was a plus 190. So they still thought he was the underdog. Now they'd moved the lines and maybe more money, more people saw my podcast and I started listening to me and they're like, oh, look, Claybo, like that. But I mean, I hope Illy's out there. They put on a great event. I had a great time. But a lot of people don't watch the Olympics. A lot of people don't watch UFC. A lot of people don't watch PGA golf. And a lot of people don't watch NASCAR. NASCAR is actually wrapping up a race right now. I don't even know what race. Racing is crazy because there could be somebody that's ahead laps and then behind laps because they're going to make a push and somebody's got to get gas and stages. And I don't even do that stuff. But one thing that they don't do is on here is that they actually do not share this to the X anymore. So that kind of sucks. I'm like, yo, why don't they share this to the X anymore? But I'm happy everybody's coming in. We're here to talk about UFC Houston and get some things done today. That's kind of the idea. So I'm getting over to X right now. So, this is a live show. If you got questions, maybe you have a hot take from UFC Houston. Did you make some money? Did you not make some money? That's the thing that happens in this business is, some things don't always work out and then some things do. So for me, I had a good weekend, a very good weekend. And then also I took some bad beats, of course. That's just what happens in life in some of these sports. I mean, when you have a lot of your fights go under at the time. What up, June? When you have a lot of fights go over, then it kind of sucks. 2 events in a row now. We've had more overs than unders, which sucks because you're a lot of the times that you're only going to make money off the money line. And when you have somebody that's a clear favorite at negative 530, like we have this week going into UFC Mexico, now we have a problem. Now we don't have the ability to make money unless we go distance. Now I was able to return some of that later in the card because I kind of saw where the card was going. And I was in this room with the Fight Club of Pain and I go, look, I'm done with this club playing with me. So I took 2 fights that clearly should have went under, that I felt that was going to go under, that a lot of people thought was going to go under. I took the positive on the points. Points was 3 plus 360. Points ended up being like plus 298. I end up getting a plus 1136 out the deal or something like that. And I was able to return all that money. Now, this is what we preach at Dr. Roto. If you haven't been over there, get over there. Use code word WIN. There's a ton of MLB baseball, both DFS wise and seasonal wise. People are doing their seasonal fantasy baseball leagues right now. Get over to Dr. Roto. Use code word WIN and become our rich friend. We have the right here for all of your fantasy needs. Also, follow that up. Head over to DFS Hero. Use code word DOC. You will get 20% off of their product, and then you get all their optimizers. You know, they have a different, it's just so much. Together, working with DFS Hero, Tom, and then, of course, Dr. Roto, we've been able to put some stuff together. But now Dr. Roto is on Sirius XM Fantasy on Saturdays and Sundays, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. mornings, Eastern Standard Time. So that works out great for me because every once in a while I get to call in. So I called into Doc, gave out a parlay for the UFC event. It burned that cash up. But this is what I'm talking about. So I gave that out, and everybody could go, well, look, your expertise on that was junk. What up, Kenzie? But then you watch the Fight Club of Pain last Thursday, and you see the fire that we spit. And then you kind of go, oh, I get it. When they have a show, we should probably watch the show. You should watch the show. The Fight Club of Pain is one of the best DFS and betting shows out there, bar none. There's a lot of good shows, but we consistently nail stuff that people have only dreamed to nail stuff. But last week, we were able to have Walker on. That was really cool to see him pop in and actually, you know, give his insight, expertise with Dan, and, you know, make it a 2-man show, make it a 3-man show. So I really like that. Also, going back to it, we do a quick walk through the card, and then we'll get into the percentages because this is a review podcast. You know, we're here to have fun, talk about the Olympics. Hopefully win some money at the race. I was winning third place for like $40 earlier, but we all know how that works with me in racing. But I was able to put out a golf lineup today that returned money off of listening. I'll talk to that a little bit later about some of the products at Dr. Roto and why you should listen to the podcast and why getting behind the paywall and looking at the articles and being able to make a lineup is a bonus. Now, that's a gift that I have, and we will talk about that later. All right, we started out, you know, let's talk about Juliana Miller and Carly Judice. You know, this is why we don't bet on women's MMA sometimes, because we thought that this fight should have gone under. No. And what's actually more, and I mean this in no disrespect to Miss Miller, but you look like a lurchy lurch that just laughs every time you get punched in the face. And at some point, it gets annoying to me to watch that for 15 minutes. How is it not annoying the other fighter? Why would you let your opponent smile at you? That means that they can take your punch. If they can take your punch them harder. That makes sense. It makes sense, right, people? But nope. We just got this the whole time. We'll talk about jabs later, right? Yadier Davalial loses to Jordan Levitt. Levitt just held him down. Davalier stinks. He can't do nothing right. It just shows that whole Isaac Bulgarian fight was fixed even more. But if, you know, I don't need to talk about that. This dude's a bum. He lost. I'm happy I only had him in one lineup. Move along. However, I did highlight Jean-Paul Lebisaniani, and he beat Phil Rowe. He did it perfectly. He took it. And man, these fights just kept going over and over, right? But he did it well. And when we get to the percentages on the DFS, like, you'll understand why I recommended him, why he was a key to one of my cashing lineups. Let's get over to Brahimaj, who killed my first part of my parlay for Sirius XM to Soriano. I felt like this fight could have gone under, but it just felt like these guys just really wanted to do it. Again, I guess it turned out being a good fight. But where I made my money was Brahimaj takedowns, right? So +2 was a +195. So that was really nice in there too. And at this point, like I said, I started thinking overs. But when we got to the Jocelyn Edwards fight, I said, I'm going under on this fight. I went huge unders, got the knockout. I'm going to have all of those numbers coming out for you in memes and little clips that I like to put up and show you a bunch. But I won so many bets this weekend, I actually have to stop, pull them back, and put them on my Facebook at bringthepain.com or on Facebook, because I got too many between the Olympics and basketball and of course the UFC. So let's move along. But I gotta say, Edwards took that down. It was a little, Cornhole was getting the better of her on the cage, and on some of the striking exchanges, most of the striking exchanges. But Edwards just kept coming forward. She seized her opportunity, practically hurt, something with the shoulder, popped out. Maybe it didn't pop out, but she finished her. And that's what we wanted. Sub and knockout plus 390 or 360. I got it down here. We'll talk about that. We get the Correa versus Gurule. It's another fight. I thought these dudes was going to get to the middle and hit. Instead, they kind of just had themselves a boxing match. Worked out really good on the DFS slates for Correa. Idaris also had a great matchup with Odie Osborne. Now, the one thing I did like about Idaris is that he was able to secure some points, but he was a little more well-owned. I think he was around 28%. I have that on there. But however, Carlos Leal and Chidi Nikuani, oh, dude, that was a war. That right there is the Carlos Leal that we know, right? And that right there showed, when you hear his prices, when you hear his percentages, you're going to be like, why didn't I play him? Why didn't I play him? Because I think everybody thought that Chidi was going to piece him up. And maybe he did. But then we get to that next fight. Zachary, I'm just doing a fast one. If you want somebody to give you in-depth, I can give you in-depth if you want. But I want to walk through and I want to get to the point. So about this point, this is the main card. I'm 6-3. I'm 6-3 going into the main card. I picked Zach Reese, started off with a bad. Boom. Of course, he loses to Michael Pereira in a match that two nut kicks and an eye poke. And then the ref going, watch your hands. Don't eye poke him. Don't eye poke him. The whole match. That was also in another match too. I think it was Lebo Sayanye was getting teased by the ref about his hands. Might happen a third time in this card. But anyway, moving along. Zachary Reese and Michelle Pereira put on a clinic. That was a good fight outside of the weirdness. I mean, we had the acting from Pereira. Great. That was some B+ work. You'd have made Lou Diamond Phillips proud, brother. You would have made him proud. Heck, you make me proud. But you know who makes me proud is my guy, Jacoby Smith. Just straight knocking fools. There's a lot of people that give Josiah Howell a second. But nah. Smith was going to lay this man out from the go. And you know how I knew that? Well, because of his last fight, too, when he choked somebody out and I had some money on knockout. So I suggested in the 5tastic picks that we get some money on sub as this one. But he got the 2 takedowns, which shows he's willing to take down. That was positive money plus 220, I think it was. And then, so, you know, that was just a great fight. We earned a lot of money. So at this point, I am 7-3 now. And, you know, so I was 6-3 after the Zach Reese loss. 7-3, Jacoby Smith. I did pick Ante Delija. Oh, dude, you literally could have finished Spivak. Instead, you just tired out. If anybody actually does this when they fight, you're a terrible fighter. Now, I know that Ante Delija would probably knock me out because he's a heavyweight and I'm a lightweight. But hear me out. That dude literally would never catch me. And by the time he caught me, he would be tired out and I would knock him out. Because I can tell you what I saw when I saw Delija put him up on that fence. I'm talking about Spivak, right? And he's got him reeling, right? He's got him reeling. He stops from extreme gassing, pulls him off of the cage, and hugs him. Hugs him. You deserve that loss. And I hope they feed. I don't want to see this because you probably for some reason will beat Cuniv, but they need to feed your ass to somebody else, dude, because that was terrible. Let me just weigh in a little something for a lot of you people that tire when you strike, because we're going to get to a really good striker soon. And you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you guys should be doing 100 punches, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way up to 100. Then hell, maybe a lot of you, since y'all get paid to do this, go backwards all the way back to 10. Because I can tell you this right now. I'm a striker. I strike and I throw a lot of volume in my point fights. I will tell you this. I'm probably around a 9 to 10, 11 strikes per minute fighter, right? And it could be more than that because I don't stop attacking. Even though we break, I'm flying back at you. We break for about a second or two. I'm flying back at you with a 3 to 4 to 5 hit combo. I will promise you this, and I know a lot of you are out there going to say I'm talking shit, and I'm not talking shit. If any of these UFC fighters want to learn how to strike, come to Erie, Pennsylvania, and go to TKO Erie, and I promise you, you will throw more than a 2-hit combo. A bunch of bums. You're a bunch of bums. 2-hit combos. 2-hit combos. I can kick with my leg more than 2 times, and I'm 47. The fact that these guys and gals are way younger than me and cannot do a 2-3 hit combo is atrocious. And you call yourself a fighter. That's cool. Maybe that's why I got all these trophies over here, because I never stop attacking. Because the people who attack win fights. We'll get there. So, dude gets beat by Spivak, of all people. Just Spivak. Just big old Gunther looking like Festus from WWE back then. Dude looking, beats him. Go home, Delesia. We're done with you. You got your face bent by WCA after an up eye poke restart. We're just done with you. Done with you. You can't even box. Call yourself a boxer with Tom Aspinall. Please. Deninge versus Melquizal Costa. I will tell you this. When we reviewed this fight, we did the Costa fight, the Medic fight, and of course, we did the main event, Strickland versus Hernandez. When we do fights, okay, so I'm in a mixed bunch. I'm going into the last three fights, up money finally. Up money finally, right? Because I had 2 separate money lines that went 4-1 on the round robin to return positive money both ways. So we're hitting this money right now. I am failing. We'll get to that. I had a bad week, but not a bad week. Like, yeah, we'll talk about that. So we get to Costa. The one thing I said on Thursday with Dan and Walker was I'm playing knockout and points with Costa. And I'm also going to be playing the decision no bet. Costa was one of the only, I think he was the only favorite that actually had a positive on the decision no bet. And that's the type of expertise you get when you listen to the Fight Club of Pain at Dr. Roto. Because I was able to find Claybo, as I talked about earlier in this podcast, and I was able to find you a decision no bet that gave you all your money. Then you played your knockout points and you were totally covered. But what was beautiful is I got the knockout, didn't need the points. It got the plus 150 on the under. That's just under two and a half rounds, plus 205. Just outstanding numbers, right? So during this episode, I actually swayed because of the fight theory. I thought Jeff Neal being able to hang with Protes for a minute was going to work. I knew that Rose Medic was going to bring the pressure. And Walker tried to tell us, hell, I switched to Neal. That cost me. I was 9-5 for this card. 9-5. Still great. Still pretty good. Right? But at the same time, could have been better. If Auntie Delecia steps up. If I just stay on Earl Medic. And I did not. So I had Medic knocked out. I had the under. I was able to find a lot of good, because this fight, the under was like negative 950. Knockout was a negative 520. So it was going to be hard to find numbers for that fight. But of course, I did pick Neal, and then I want to get to some of the numbers, and then we're going to lead into the main event. So of course, as I said, with the Costa, we were able to hit those. I thought Costa was going to knock second and third round. I really did think that Costa's offense was going to be too much for Inge. And I know that Pitbull, the way Pitbull beat Dan Inge was the way Dan Inge should be beat. You know, just take him the distance, boxing match, nothing really chaotic. Well, Costa brings chaos. That spinning sidekick is a sidekick that I can do, that we're taught to do as point fighters, because once we step off a line and once we're off center, right, you're in a bad position, we spin real quick, we kick you. If you're still there, you're going to get kicked and you're going to be off center, which is going to give us the point. Fight theory, right? So with the arithmetic, of course, we had first and second round plus 310, decision no bet plus 180, money line distance no plus 193, under 1.5 rounds, negative 196, first round knockout, negative 110. I mean, first round knockout plus 500. We hit it all. Hit it all. On the Jeff Fields side, I just knock out in points. Of course, I did play money line distance no. I did play the decision no bet. But of course, knockout was 105. Round one knockout for him was plus 175. And Dan went with the second round knockout. It didn't happen. We didn't get it there. But I had third minute of first round plus 550. I almost got the third minute of first round. That's insane, right? And then round two to not start, negative 110. So the theory that and what I do with my show and what Dan does with the soup can is we present you bets that if you're going to go this side, you're going to completely benefit from both sides, but you're going to hedge. Now, even on my five-tastic picks that went 3-2, I was able to break even. Now, as the picks went good, but breaking even was that. Now, I did throw in another parlay. Of course, the parlay of pain went 1-4. I only got the one win on that one. Of course, that win was the arithmetic. Negative under 1.5 rounds, negative 196. But the Delesia, Coria, and Rowe and Judice not going distance at. I will make that better for all of you, right? But the thing is, it's like a recipe. You got to have the five-tastic picks. You got to round robin that, right? So when it hits big. Then you got to get my money line picks. You're getting 2, 4, and 1 money line picks, and my picks literally are hitting left and right. Round robin, you're returning more money than you need. And then you're looking at the way we're hitting. So we smashed on the Costa side. We smashed practically every single bet we hit with arithmetic, and now we're to Sean Strickland. So, of course, coming into this, I'm always kind of the new guy. Dan kind of gets on my, he goes, you're that new guy. You love the new guys, but Dan loves Fluffy Hernandez. So we were torn on this fight. But I said this during a podcast on Thursday last week. I said, when you look at both of these guys, I don't see Fluffy knocking out Sean Strickland. I see Sean Strickland knocking out Fluffy. Hence the video that's on Bring the Pain at Heat Override on YouTube, and of course, Dr. Roto at YouTube. Get over there, like, follow, and share. This will get you the content, the bets that you need to be our rich friend, right? You get over there, and you will see that I was taking Sean Strickland's mouth. I bet on Sean's mouth saying a 4th round knockout. Now, by the past, I feel that when you get a fight of this aptitude, that I'm always rolling that 2 and 3. It's always that 3 to 4 action. That's why we had the action. Now, Sean boxed boy up. Sean's jab, everybody saw it. Sean's jab took that entire fight over. He didn't even need his teeth. And I'll tell you, Hernandez went at him a couple times. There was some ground play. I thought it was going to stop, but just like a true warrior, Sean stood up. And this is why Sean stood up. There's levels to this game. Dan says it. Everybody says it. Everybody knows there's levels to this game. People can sometimes just stand up and are just that better. Fluffy practically tried to box with a boxer and he got taken out. And it was getting bad because it was really like when Sean was just jabbing him, he kept sending it. And Fluffy didn't have anything for it except that rush, kind of the blitz, kind of what I do. Take that one, get in, get some hits. And he hit Sean a few times, but Sean was able to recover because Sean knows how to recover. Sean is strong. Sean is smart. His fight IQ was up there, right? So, but then Sean was landing that 1-2 every so often. It was 1-1-1-1-2, 1-1-1-1-2. Oh, look, he came running in. Boop, boop, boop. Get out of there. Boom. 1-1-1-1-2. Right? But that 2 hit every time. And I said this. I said, if this continues, that 2 is going to drop him. Eventually, that led to an exchange, led to a knee that hurt Hernandez. Sean then went to work, boxed him up, took him out, and we got that third. During that video on the YouTube that I'm talking about, that is now on the X, that we recorded last week, I said I'm taking third, fourth, fifth round knockout to hedge myself plus 1,300. Somebody went right on that YouTube comment and said, you got the plus 1,300. Plus 1,300, people. Who gave you something else? I know Walker gave a plus 900 for this, for knockout for Medic. So I know that. I know that for a fact, or it was Costa. He threw down, I think he threw down $4, won $45 or whatever nuts off of that Costa knockout. That's the stuff that was on that show. And I got to thank Walker for coming on, being part of the UFC Sheriffs, being an honorary UFC Sheriff, because it was great to see him come through and talk with us. That was great. So that gave us that. But here's the key. If you look at my thing, 345 plus 1,300. This was written down Wednesday before I even recorded that. Decision no bet plus 225. Moneyline distance, yes. Of course, I lost that plus 383. But that's okay because I had moneyline distance no plus 471. Knockout points. I said, Sean ain't go for sub. Play knockout points plus 230. You're in it. Knockout first and second round. I had to cover myself plus 1,400. Fourth minute and fourth round plus 2,500. Knockout for Sean Strickland plus 650 plus 750 on DraftKings. I tell you all these numbers because these are all the numbers that were given out and all the numbers that hit. So yes, maybe the parlay of pain went 1-4. So yes, maybe the untouchable five-tastic picks took a couple losses because I wanted some no distance. But one thing is for sure, when it comes to a show, and it comes to a show that hits numbers, it's hard to find a show that does better than the Fight Club of Pain. And you can only experience that show at drroto.com. Go back and check the tape and see that I'm right. And once you see that I'm right, you're not going to understand why I'm right. Just know that a guy that does everything else and has a fighting career and a forms career, and he's a grand champion, can still put out better content than most of you sites that charge 10 times more than we do at Dr. Roto. Yeah. I gotta run my mouth. Because on top of the plus 1,300, if you see my meme, I also took first, second, and third round knockout for Sean. Covered the whole thing. Plus 1,100. Cha-ching. That's what we do. And I actually threw 2 units on that, so I had a nice return. So that was nice. So that being said, let's get over to our DFS hit. Strickland hit. Devalier didn't. Lebo Sanyani hit. Of the lineup that I gave out for on the Thursday show for the Fight Club of Pain, Strickland, Medic, Costa, Brahmiaj, Devalier, and Lebo Sanyani returned to cash. 4-1, 2 loss. 2 were still. They were well, let's be honest. Lebo Sanyani won. So yeah, so I went, but Brahimaj and Devalier didn't. They had a chance to win. They were in a position to win. We were closer to some points. That would have been a swing of at least 50, 60 points, whatever, with the wins on that. DFS Hero gave you Fluffy, Liao, Ige, Lebosiani, Soriano, and Neal. I didn't like that at all. Of course, that being said, Walker picked 2 wins. I got 2 wins, and Dan got 1 win. Still, overall, the show was a great success. As I said, the parlay of pain 1-4. Both money lines 4-1. The five-tastic picks 3-2, and then another random parlay I threw in went 2-3. I was able to return 30% of the money on the round robin that I put into that. That is why we round robin. When you lose, you can lose a lot more. But when you can get a couple wins to 3 wins, you might be able to still profit, depending on if it's a plus or whatever, and that. I also threw in, like I said, I threw in a full distance, and I got that plus 360, and I got that plus 270 in 2 fights that I felt at the beginning of the week were definitely under, and I was able to get the plus 1136. All that together, by the time I got to the Sean Strickland fight, allowed me extra money to put money on Sean Strickland, and then thus, boom, the night. Most of the time, I have a reverse. I win so much money by the time I get to that point, I play a little, and I call it a night. But I did not. FanDuel lineups, 2 out of 4 hit, cashed 530 and a 533. DK, my best lineup was a 463. That cashed. The other lineup I gave out for the Fight Club of Kane That did cash as well too. But overall in a GPP, I went 2-4 and 1-4 in a GPP, not a 50-50. Let's get to some of the numbers. Zach Reese was 22% on FanDuel, 29% on DraftKings. You can see why it is. Brahima was 40% on FanDuel, 20% on DraftKings. See, people, that sometimes is the number. He was recommended by me, and he scored a decent amount of points. Lebosayani, though, 12% on both lives. Nobody believed in him, but the Fight Club of Pain did. And because the Fight Club of Pain did, that man was able to return some money for us. Sean Strickland was 23 on FanDuel, 28 on DraftKings. Pretty modest. Still had the lean. A lot of people didn't want to go with him. 7,100 on DraftKings. He was in all but one lineup, and Fluffy was in that lineup because I had to have that exposure. I always punt catcher when it comes to MLB. I punt tight end. I'll punt quarterback sometimes in the NFL just so I can get those running backs and those wide receivers, those high price guys in. So for me, that was it. But man, y'all giving us Mel Costa? Gave us Mel Costa at 13% on FanDuel, 17% on DraftKings. Man, I told y'all to play him, but Correa, 15% on FanDuel, 22% on DraftKings. A little more, but on FanDuel, that 15% was nice. Correa was definitely a target of mine. But of course, Jacoby Smith, 66% on FanDuel, 29% on DraftKings. So on FanDuel, because of the pricing, everybody gravitated to Jacoby Smith. On DraftKings, because of the pricing as well, in a different area, people were gravitated off of Jacoby Smith. So that's what it made it a little nice easier to get that in. Harley Judice going 34% on FanDuel, 21% on DraftKings. Leal was 28 and 26, both FanDuel and DraftKings. And Medic was around 28%. Those were the keys to your lineups. Again, Medic, low owned, 28. Strickland, 28. Costa, 13. Man, I'm good, ain't I? I'm good. Brahimaj, we got him with the 20. Devalier, we got him, right? Boom. Devalier was like 28%, by the way. Just that. And then Lebosayani, 12%. I focused Costa and Lebosayani, 12%, 13% is practically one of the, and Sean Strickland, those being my three guys, were the big part of why I cashed last week. Could have had all that information by just simply watching the Fight Club event. But other than that, right now, the Winter Olympics have concluded. Like we said earlier, the men's and women's hockey team have won gold. The men's first time since 1980. That was that goal. So right before that goal went, Doc was live on air. I go Jack Eichel scoring the game-winning goal. Jack Hughes did. I got the wrong Jack, but I knew Jack was going to score. So I threw it down. I thought Eichel would be the guy that lead. That was a beautiful setup. You had a little mess up over there on the side. You pass it back in. Dude's wide open. Slap shot finished. Boom. Gold medal for the USA. Right? So that being said, Norway still dominated. Now, if you go to Dr. Roto and you go to the Subs-Only Discord and you go all the way back to January when I put those bets in, you'll see that I got some really good numbers on Norway winning. Also, plus 200 for the United States to win the Gold Cup in hockey on both sides. And then, of course, that's when I told the world about Johannes Klebo. Again, do the research. See that this man secured 6 gold medals last year, like I said on Sirius XM Fantasy on Saturday. Secured 6 gold medals. Then you make him a plus 500. That's how we do it. That's the type of team that we have. I said this earlier. I said it again, but 6 medals in cross country, that's just crazy. And it's fun to watch because a lot of people don't understand that stuff when they start shooting the paint and, they start going and they start roughing it up. But the fact that I was able to identify that talent shows. It shows. What you pay for at Dr. Roto, you will always get your money's worth. Doc said it yesterday. It doesn't matter what you bet on. The fact is that you have to sometimes trust a guy, trust an expert like Doc, trust an expert like, Jeff Mans, trust an expert who everybody out there, like Ray Flowers, all these different people that I've walked this journey with. Heck, Danger has a great plays. Trevor, his plays sometimes. Everybody has a guy. Sometimes I'm not your guy. Sometimes my loud mouth just drives people away. But the product speaks. The product speaks. And that's what Doc was talking about. Doc was talking about that, you may not want to bet on the Winter Olympics, but if you see me putting in DFS lineups and you start winning some cash off of those, and you see me hitting things like a plus 500 and a plus 190, I mean, I took my losses. I took some losses. I had Lindsey Vaughn prior to the season starting. That didn't work out well for me. That was before the injury on the Wednesday, too. So it was just one of those things that I thought I was going to get I did have one of my bets voided, though, but they still paid out the parlay. So thanks, FanDuel. Beat a team player. Love it. Right? So as a collective, me being able to listen to our PGA DFS shows that Danger and Al does, then looking at their cheat sheet for the PGA, I have a winning lineup in today. And I may have missed it a little earlier on kind of just the way my Thursday to Sunday, I had 5 people going into today. I'm not a PGA expert. I listen to my team and I take with them and then I apply it when I see the cheat sheet. And that's what you get at Dr. Roto. But I get that. Okay, so I will say this right here. This is where people like me are experts. I can take and evaluate and I can make a lineup. And I can make a lineup that's going to score cash in any sport. I can do that in almost any sport. And I know that you might think that that's crazy. My football, UFC, and MLB content is tight. I'm one of the best. I am good out there. Maybe not the best some weeks, but truly the best on other weeks. Right? But when you get UFC content like this, when you're getting plus 1300s, when you're getting plus 1100s, when you're getting knockouts for plus 650, you're telling you to play decision no bet with Costa at plus 150. These are all keys to why we make money at Dr. Roto and why people are a rich friend. You just have to sometimes take a chance and dive into the sport, whether you know it or not. Like Doc said, you have to actually trust it. You have to give it. You just got home. I was actually about to end it up, but you could pop in. You could pop in if you want to get in. Do you have the code? What's up, Dan? Dan's trying to pop in late. I don't even got a beer for you, bro. But you could pop in. Do you have the code? It should be the same as the hard hits review. So everybody that doesn't see this going on right now, Dan wants to jump in. All right. Because this is actually good timing here. If you need the code, I will send it to you. So give us a few seconds, and then Dan's gonna come in. We're gonna talk about the end, and we'll get it. So and Dan's had a pretty fun night, from what I understand. And so he can. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be in total Sean Strickland mode, but I know he's gonna be excited about Sean Strickland, because me and him both picked Sean Strickland to box out Fluffy, and we also thought that Fluffy would end up, losing that way. So let's get him in here. Got that sent to you, Dan. Hopefully I copied that right. I mean, come on. Oh, yeah, I think I got that right. We'll see in a second. So so while Dan gets in here, I'm gonna run through some of these bets that I got. So of course I had Devalier, Edwards, Correa, Idaris, and Leal as my picks. And then here goes Sean Strickland plus 650. We got Strickland first, second round, 11. How the fight will end, knockout plus 330. Distance, no. Strickland plus 471. Strickland third, fourth, fifth round. That's what we hit. Strickland decision, no bet plus 235. Strickland knockout points plus 230. Under 1.5 rounds for the Medic fight. That was negative 152. Eros Medic decision, no bet plus 178. Eros Medic first round knockout plus 500. Medic first, second plus 310. Eros no distance and money line plus 193. Let's go over to knockout for that fight plus 110. Again, first and second round win. First and second round win, not knockout. Plus 260. Costa decision no bet plus 130. I actually played that twice. I got the 150 and I got the 130. So I got the 130 that'll be displayed. Under 2.5 rounds plus 205. Knockout points negative 195. Knockout plus 260. And then we got some DFS lineups that I decided to throw in there. And then let's get into Strickland's knockout plus 750. This was on DraftKings to Strickland to win by any knockout, submission, or disqualification. Strickland knockout, DQ, TKO, or Anthony Hernandez to win by submission plus 165. Move it along. Over 1.5 rounds, negative 145 for Jacoby Smith. Won that. Over a half, actually, that was not rounds. That was takedowns landed. Over 1.5 takedowns landed, negative 145, Jacoby Smith. Over 0.5 takedowns for Zach Reese, landed plus 140, won that. Over 0.5 takedowns by, thank you, Michelle Pereira, plus 150. Bam. Two. There he is. All right. Let me get my earphones in. We got a special guest. What's up, man? How you doing?
What up, bro?
How was your trip?
I was good, man. They took me out to eat to like a tap house, so it was pretty cool.
Okay. We actually went to a tap house too. That's where we went. We went to it's called the Harbor House, but they have it's a local place kind of started. The other place linked to the Harbor House is called Tap House. So it's kind of cool.
Nice.
So what kind of beers did you have?
I had a few different ones, man. Like they have a wall, and you get a little card, and you scan the card, and you can pour whatever you want. So it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I was just hitting up a lot of the bets we hit, just kind of like where I used the card against itself, where it was going decision. So I put 2 decisions, got a plus 1,600 hit. Jocelyn Edwards, that knockout was nasty, plus 390. Brahima, 2 takedowns, plus 175. I'm a crazy mofo. Check it out. I got Nikolai Jokic, the Joker, first bucket of the game, plus 532. We're just hitting out. Marjiki Groenwood, plus 120. Gilly Kim, Korea, plus 225. USA, Canada, Italy, plus 132. Johannes Lochner, negative 155. U.S. men's hockey, plus 200. And then, of course, Norway over 15 total gold medals, plus 130. Yeah, that was January. Also, Norway, most gold medals, negative 160. Julia Simon and Zoe Atkin, plus 145. Sean Strickland, most significant strikes, plus 220. Under 4.5 rounds, plus 142. There's 650 again. Dan, we said Sean Strickland was going to go in there and box Fluffy up. He boxed Fluffy up. What did you see in that fight?
Bro, that Philly shell works to perfection again. I absolutely loved it. That everything that we said that was going to happen happened in that fight.
We were talking real quick, and maybe I went 1-4 on being aggressive for the parlay of pain. But the thing is, dude, every bet we bet for the Costa, Medic, and Strickland fight hit. It just, I can't understand who are so good at this. It's like, even when you think the world's going to fall apart and burn, the parlay of pains or the Fight Club of Pain is still dominant, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I went 1-3 for my predictions, but that one prediction was Strickland winning, and no one thought it was going to happen. No one thought it was going to happen, but us.
Yeah. And so, dude, the way Strickland was able to send it, and then, dude, I was talking about earlier in the thing, like when he started hitting that 1-2 at will, I was like, this is not going to be good for Fluffy in the end, man. Not going to be good.
Like I said before, what's his face laid the blueprint on how to beat Fluffy. You throw things down the pipe. Kevin Holland.
Oh yeah.
He laid the blueprint on how to beat Fluffy, and I think that Strickland followed it perfectly.
Yeah, and this wasn't just the perfect Sean Strickland showed up. No, we said this on Thursday, Dan. There's levels to this game. Yeah. Strickland's on a different level. He has fought multiple multiple superheroes in this division. He is one of them. There's why there's Superman and there's why there's Aquaman.
That's right. That's right. And dude, Fluffy's striking, like we talked about, I don't think it's up to par with the best guys in this division. If he could out wrestle somebody, he's great. But as soon as the fight stays standing, he gets lost. He gets lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. And we might see that again with Barallo versus RDR. But RDR is going to try to like smother Barallo, and he's going to be able to do that eventually. But if Barallo just takes this blueprint, how to be able to get a quirky striker, except I'll say Hernandez does strike better than RDR.
Yes.
He can take that, but still elude the wrestling. He'll be able to get through, but Barallo's got his hands open, man. But this was again, you can't let those punches go through. And when I just constantly seen that jab getting through, I was like, it's going to be a long night, man. He's not going to be able to go forward with that jab constantly hitting him in the lip. And Sean barely used his teep kicks too, Dan.
Yeah, I think he didn't use the teep kicks because he was scared of the takedown. That's exactly what we talked about on Thursday. I said he was going to fight behind that jab, and he was going to double and triple jab him, which is exactly what happened.
It is. The only thing we got wrong in that fight was I said 4, and it was 3, but that's why it recovered itself.
Yeah, I said 4th round too. So
yeah, I mean, we just knew, I put the money on Sean's mouth saying 4th round, but it would have worked to that. If this wouldn't have happened in the 3rd round, it would eventually have happened in the 4th round, because it was that 3rd round when that right started dropping and really hurting Hernandez that it was making a difference. So that's just gold, man. But it was crazy. You at least didn't have to pop in and hear about my PGA, my NASCAR stuff going on, all that stuff. But, I was able to return a lot of money this weekend from all these sports, and just was kind of talking about what Doc was talking about when he brought up that, sometimes you might not be confident betting on the UFC. But like Doc said, he goes, but to know a guy like you and myself in this show that we have here, and to believe in and to know that we do our work to put the bets down and to have a chance to win that money is what we're trying to do for everybody. I may run my mouth, and some people might not like it, and I might come off cocky. I might toot my own horn, but I really just want people to have this information.
I think you need to run your mouth more, man.
Hey, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, I think you should run your mouth more, and I think I should start doing a little bragging too. But I'm not that type of guy.
Yeah. So talking about bragging and going to next week, we already have the 3 fights that we're going to do. I will not review those, but one of them is a recourse of what you have. Your boy Bobby Green, King Green, is back on it.
Yeah,
and he's fighting your huge soup can upset last year, Michael Johnson, that being Daniel Zellhuber. I cannot wait to talk about this fight with you.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a fun one to talk about, man.
It is. Right now, Bobby Green is going for plus 320. Like, in a perfect world, a 320, you're going to give me a 320, and there's a chance that Bobby Green, who has King Green, I should go back to being Bobby because I thought he was better as Bobby anyway. But
he was better as Bobby.
Yeah, get the king out. Go back to being Bobby. Maybe he needs to listen to Bobby Brown, Bobby, and then he'll go back to being Bobby because he'll understand why Bobby Brown, Bobby is a better album than King of Stage by Bobby Brown, even though King of Stage was the first one.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Woo. So we got Bobby Green versus Daniel Zellhuber. And that plus 320, I've already made parlays with that in it. Just because if this happens again, Zellhuber looks bad again, we're going to get an easy win. And I can promise you, by the time Thursday comes, that plus 320 might be a plus 180. Might be.
I think it might be because I don't know. I think a lot of people are doubting Bobby Green right now, or King Green, or whatever you want to call him, because he's lost so many fights in a row, and he's been knocked out a few times, and he's coming to the end of his career. But Bobby Green is still one of the most dangerous boxers in the UFC.
I agree with that. And that could spell disaster for Mr. Zellhuber, who couldn't get past the Philly shell last time.
I agree.
I can't wait to break that down and see some of those props that we're going to be able to give out this Thursday. Of course, we'll also, I'm just going to give it out now. Most of the people know that we do the top 3 fights unless we pop around. We'll be doing Chito Vera versus David Martinez, Brandon Moreno versus Loner Kavanaugh. So those will be the 3 fights that we will be focusing in on, and we'll make sure that we got that together. I mean, there's always a chance that a 4th fight, we always talk about some random other fights and stuff, but with this card, there's really not much else to talk about. I mean, the one fight, I guess, Alan Perez versus Macy Chasson, that might be one of the ones that we'll do a briefing, but I'm not going to give out thousands of finishes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. There's not a lot to look forward to on this fight night. There's a few lower card names that are worth watching, but it's just that nothing that really strikes the peak interest right now.
Yeah. So there's a lot of debuts being made against people that suck. You have the worst. You do have like 2 of the worst fighters fighting. Though you got Chris Mutino fighting and Jose Daniel Medina. Bro, all I gotta do is go look at Ryan Gandra's freaking strikes per minute. Remember when we got Jose Daniel Medina? He's like at 12 strikes per minute a Zord. This dude Gandra throws 12 a minute. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are just going to stand in the middle and punch each other in the face. That's all that's going to happen.
I thought that was going to happen a few times this weekend, and it didn't. But these guys will. Ryan Gandra will knock Medina out. Like, he's going to knock him out. Like, he ain't going to play the game. But there's some other peoples that are pretty cool. What were you say, Dan?
I'm looking past this weekend. I really like the top 3 fights this weekend, but I'm looking to 328, man.
Yeah, 328
or 326. Sorry, 326.
It looks like an 8 if you look at it. If you squint hard, it will. So let's just go to that real quick, since that'll add a little closure to this podcast, and give it that, since that one, of course, you're talking about
March 7th.
March 7th.
Holloway, Oliveira, and Varallo, and De Ritter, and Rob Font versus Rojas Jr. Yeah.
Ooh. Dude, Font with his boxing and Rojas with that wrestling is going to be insane. And
Cody's back, man. Cody Garbrandt's back.
Yeah. Zhao Long. He gets him. Dante Johnson. That's the guy that I was like, his back looks like Mike Tyson's back, dude.
Yeah.
And he gets Dusko Torovic. So that's the perfect guy that's going to be set up, And I mean, even Ricky Tercios and Alberto Montes, that could be a fun fight. So this card, and they could add even maybe something to it. But right now, this card looks really good. We got the return of Rodolfo Bellato. Yeah. So I'm not going to even play him, man. He gets ghost. He gets spooked.
And I don't think every fight's been announced for this card yet.
No, I mean, but you still have Joe Song Yu, Gaston Bolanos as that, Suma Jajeri versus Jesus Aguilar, and then of course Cody Durden versus the Naimarjaral, Tumen Dem Barillo. Wow, that guy's name. Even the first name kind of sends you on a. Do you see the name he's fighting?
Yeah, Cody Durden. Nine Jargal Terminderber. Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce that.
Well, we don't. That's too much. Like, we just need that. And then, of course, so this is going to be a huge card. I like the way they broke it up. And then, of course, we're going to end it with Holloway versus Oliveira. So we get a nice little card. Let's win some money at this next card, and then let's just get ready to feast March 7th with this card, man. This could be great. All right, before we get out of here, I wanted to say something to look ahead to the future with this Sean Strickland win. Do you think he hops Imavov or do you think Imavov gets Chimaev?
It all depends on if Dana White lets Chimaev jump weight classes.
Yeah, I've seen that happening right now, that there's a lot of speculation going on with that.
I don't think he wants to cut weight. I don't think he wants to cut to 185. And like I said, this man is going to hold up the middleweight division.
And that's why I took that bet last year during that show that Chimaev would be the champion at the end of this year. Because if he doesn't fight this year, he moves up. And that belt doesn't, I mean, most likely they'll probably put the belt up before then. But if he doesn't, or if he just wins once, then most likely that future bet set 13 months ahead prior is going to end up cashing. Yeah, we're crazy here, people.
Yeah, I truthfully think there should be a interim champion in this division, and he's going to hold up the division. I've been saying it since before he won the belt.
Yep.
He's going to hold up this division. He fights once every 15 months. Granted, when he does fight, he looks good. But I don't see him as a real champion in the UFC because
Merab.
Yeah,
he's not a Merab. No Merab. That's why Merab needs to get that ranking this week. We'll put him back over China because he's on Ramadan. I want to add something else to that too. So if that does happen, if he moves up, they end up doing a title fight. The title fight right now would be Imavov versus Strickland, right?
Yes.
Strickland wins because they already have history. Strickland win this again, right? Is that when DDP versus Strickland 3 happens? Because that just sounds like a whole spell of disaster for Strickland DDP 3 that nobody wants to see. But Strickland would be the champ again, and I think Strickland would win this time. But is that something you want to see now that I kind of connected those dots?
No, I don't. I don't want to see those two fight ever again.
All right.
Ever.
So then if Strickland say Chimaev moves up, Strickland beats Imavov, becomes the champion, RDR beats Barallo, or Barallo beats RDR, the winner of that match fights Strickland.
Yeah, I would love to see Strickland fight Barallo. I think that would be a striking masterpiece.
You have said that actually a lot. You have said that a lot because it was when we did those bets. You're like your boy from the Fighting Nerds, Barallo.
Yeah.
You said that would be the fight that we were talking about him without the belt.
Yeah.
We were just talking about when Sean comes back, what we want to see, what we want to do. And I think we got a nice little line, but we have a way of putting these things together sometimes.
Yeah, I mean they listen to us about Derek Lewis and Waldo. So.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to hold you up. I know you had some good stuff. We got to get up in here. I don't have really anything else. I know we have our WWE Elimination Chamber podcast on Tuesday. So that'll begin around 8:00. And hopefully we can get Chrissy Ray to pull away from, because she'll be watching NXT at that point. And then we should, as long as everything's going good with Tips should be in as well too. And then we'll have a nice little discussion about that. I'm just hoping that DraftKings puts the poll up, though. I want a DraftKings poll, but I don't see one right now. There may not be one Tuesday. They could put it up Saturday or just wait for WrestleMania. But regardless, yeah, we're definitely going to have some fun talking wrestling on Tuesday.
Sounds good, man.
All right, man. Thanks for popping in. It was great to see you get part of this. And spend 15 minutes, but the most important 15 minutes of this podcast, which is predicting where the future of this division's going to go and where this giant win by Sean Strickland and what it does for that division right now with the UFC, man. So thanks for popping in, my brother. All right. Have a great
man. Anytime.
I'll see you Tuesday.
Always
remember to bring the pain.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, yeah.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. Until the next visit, be well and take care.